and welcome to today's lesson which is on reverse mean. So, if you've seen the first video, which was mean, median, mode and range, we touched upon this a little bit when we were trying to find numbers that were missing from the mean. Now, with the reverse mean, the most important part is to think about the totals and how you find the total amount of something. Now, to find the total of something, it's equal to your mean times by the amount of something. So this could be the amount of people, this could be the amount of games, it could be... Now sometimes when they talk about this, they use the word average, so the average score was this, but I don't like to use that one because mean is, there's loads of averages, mean, median, mode, now, but we're just looking at the mean, okay, so it's the mean that we're looking at here. Now, to work out the total, it's the mean times by the amount of people, the amount of games, or the amount of anything that we're dealing with. So, let's have a look at this first one here. So, it's worth getting this one down in your book, because remember, the only way to learn maths is to do it, to make sure you're getting these down in your notes. This is example 1. So, the mean height of 7 plants is 85 centimetres. Kerry bought a new plant which is 43 centimetres. What is the mean height of all the 8 plants? Now, to find out the mean of something, we need the total amount of height divided by the amount there are, which in this case would be the total amount of plants divided by 8. But the first thing we've got to do is find out the total amount of height of the plants. And we do that by working out the total amount of the height of the 7 plants and then adding on the extra plant which we've got. So for the first, let's write it down. So for the first 7 plants, to work out the total of the first 7 plants, well, the total of the first 7 plants is going to be equal to the mean of them, which is 85, times by the amount of plants, which in this case is equal to 7. So it's going to be 85 times by 7, 85 times by 7, which is equal to 595. So the total height of the first 7 plants are equal to 595. So then she buys a new plant, which is 43 centimetres. So we need to add that on. So it's going to be 595 plus the 43 centimetres. So this is for the all 8 plants. Okay. So this is equal to 595 plus 43, which is equal to 638. So this is the total height of all the 8 plants. So then to work out the mean of those 8 plants, it's going to be the total of them, which is equal to 638, divided by the amount of them, which is 8, which is equal to, so 638 divided by 8 is equal to 79.75 centimetres. Now, what I would suggest is that it's worth checking. So if the average was 85, and then she got a much smaller plant, does that bring the average down? Well, yes, it does. And does my average go down? Well, yes, it does. So that's their question is correct. Well, we don't know it's correct, but we just worked it out. So it fits what we're talking about. Okay, so what I'm going to suggest is pause now and have a little go at that one on the right there. So pause now and have a little go at this one on the right. Okay, so I'm going to have a little go at it. So this one here is example 2. Super. So it says the mean of 17 students is 48 kilograms. So the mean mass, sorry. The mass of another student is 42 kilograms. Find the mean mass of the 18 students. So the first thing we need to do is find the total of the 17 students, which is equal to the mean of them, which is 48, times by the amount of students, which is 17. So 48 times by 17, which in this case is equal to 816. If there's an extra student on there, we need to add that student on. So it's going to be 816 plus that extra student, which is the plus the 42, which is equal to 816 plus 42 is equal to 558. So this here now is the total of the 18 students. So then we need to work out the average of those, which is going to be 858 divided by the amount of students, which is 18. So 858 divided by 18, which is equal to 47.6 recurring, but it's asking it to one decimal place, so we're going to round that up to 47.7 kilograms. Brilliant. So if you've got that, well done. So let's just check both those answers. Let's just check them here. Brilliant, brilliant, super. Okay, so we've had a go at those first two questions. Let's have a look at a different type of question now. So let's have a look at these ones here. Very similar. We still need to work out the totals, but they are different. Okay. So the mean test score of 12 students is 42. A student joins the class and the mean becomes 43. Find the test score of the student in the class. Now, this one's a little bit different because we don't know what the extra person score is, but we know the overall mean. We know what the overall mean is changed, okay? So in this case, we've got to find out both totals. The totals of 12 students and the total of 13 students. So, let's find out the total test score for the 12 students. So total test score for the 12 students, and that's going to be equal to the average of the mean of those students times by the amount. So the mean for the 12 students was 42 times by the amount of students, which is 12. So it's going to be 42 times by 12, which in this case is equal to 504. So that's the total amount of marks for the 12 students. Now, when the other student joins the class, the mean goes up. So now what we're trying to find out is the total test scores for the 13 students. Now, if the mean is 13, notice that's not his individual score, that's the new mean of all 13 students. So that's equal to 43 times by, now because somebody's joined the class, it means there's now going to be 13 students. Okay, total test scores of 13. So 43 times by 13, which in this case is equal to 559. So this is the total test scores for 12 students. This is the total test scores for 13 students. So how do we work out what the new score for the new student is? Well, we need to find out what the difference of these is. So it's going to be 559 subtract 504, which is equal to, take away 504, 55. So that student has scored 55 marks, which is quite a bit above, which means that the whole average, the whole mean has gone up. Okay, brilliant. So have a little go at that question on the right. It's very similar to the one I've just done. So pause now and have a little go at that one on the right. Okay, so let's have a little go at this together then. Hopefully you've had a go at that one. So you've got to be able to understand the difference between the mean of the, what the number is for the mean and what the number is for the actual mark, because here they look very they look very similar, but they're completely different. So let's have a look at this one then. This one here is example 4. So the mean test score of 22 students is 55. A student joins the class and their mean becomes 54. So actually the mean drops. So this student's not as good as everyone else. Find the test score of the student who joined the class. So first off, I'm going to find the total score of the 22 students, which is equal to the mean of the 22 students, which is 55, times by the amount of students, which is 22. So 55 times by 22, which is equal to 1,210. So a new student has joined. So the total score is now going to be of, so total score of 23 students. Now the average is actually, the mean is actually dropped here. So it's 54 times by 23 students, which is equal to 54 times by 23, which is 1,242. So notice now that the total is still increased. We've got to see how much is increased by to find out how many marks that extra person scored. So we do 1,242 take away 1,210, which in this case is equal to 32. So the 1242 take away 1210, which is equal to 32. So the new student scored 32 marks. Super. So let's have a look at a different type of this question then. Okay, so let's have a look at the next question. So 55 and 32, super. So this one here is a little bit different again, okay. So let's have a look at this first one. This one here is example 5 now. Do make sure you're getting these down in your notes. Remember, the only way to learn maths is to do it. So there are 10 boys and 20 girls in a class. The class has a test. The mean mark for the class is 60. The mean mark for the girls is 54. Work out the mean mark for the boys. So this one is tricky, okay? So there are 10 boys and 20 girls in a class. The class has a test. The mean mark for all of the class is 60. So we've got to work out the totals of the things we can work out. Okay, remember it's all about these totals. So the first thing I know is that the mean mark of the class is 60. So if I want to work out the total for the class, it's going to be equal to the average, the mean for that class, which is 60, times by the total amount of students in the class, which in this case is equal to 30. So it's going to be equal to 60 times by 30, which is equal to 1,800. Perfect. So 1,800. So now we know the total amount of marks for the class. What else do we know? So we know the mean mark for the girls. So if I want to work out the mean mark for the mean mark for the girls is 54. So if I want to work out the total for the girls, it's going to be equal to the mean of the girls, which is equal to 54, times by the amount of girls, which in this case is 20. Okay, so 54 times by 20, which is equal to 1,080. So this is the total for the class, this is the total for the girls. So if we want to work out the total for the boys, we need to subtract these. So it's going to be 1,800 take away 1,080, because remember, this is the total for all of the class. This is the total for the girls. To find out what left that the boys have done, we subtract these. So it's going to be 1,800 take away 1,080, which in this case is equal to 720. So this here is the total for the boys, which is equal to 720. Now it's not asking for the total of the boys, it's asking for the mean mark of the boys. Now to work out the mean of the boys, it's going to be the total for the boys divided by the amount of boys. And we know what the total for the boys is now, it's 720. So the mean for this one is going to be equal to 720 divided by the amount of boys, which is 10 in this case, which is going to be equal to a mark of 72. Brilliant. So that one is tricky. Notice that's 3 marks that has come up. So what I'm going to suggest is pause now and have a little go at that one on the right. So pause now and have a go at that one on the right. Okay, let's have a little look at this one together then. So do make sure you're having a go at these. Remember, the only way to learn maths is to do it. So, Amy has 30 CDs. The mean playing time of these 30 CDs was 42 minutes. Amy sold 5 of her CDs. The mean playing time of the 25 CDs after she sold it is 42.8 minutes. Calculate the mean playing time of the 5 CDs that Amy sold. So first of all, we want to work out the total playing time of the 30 CDs, which is going to be equal to the mean of those CDs, which was 42, times by the amount of CDs, which is 30. Brilliant. So that's the total for 30. So it's going to be 42 times by 30, which is equal to 1,260. Brilliant. So she then sells 5 CDs and she's only got 25 left, but we know what the mean of those 25 is. So we want the total playtime for the 25 CDs, which is equal to the mean of those CDs, which is 42.8, times by the amount of those CDs, which is 25. So it's 42.8 times by 25, which is equal to 1,070. Brilliant. So we know the total amount of playtime for the 30 CDs. We know the total amount of playtime for the 25 CDs. So what we need to do to find out the total amount of time for those 5 CDs left over is we subtract these. So it's going to be 1,260 minus 1,070. So this is going to be the total for the 5 CDs. 1260 subtract 1070, which is equal to 190. So if we want to work out the mean of those 5 CDs, it's going to be the total play time of them, which is 190, divided by the amount of CDs, which is 5. So 190 divided by 5, which is equal to 38 minutes. So that's the average time of, or the mean time of the 5 CDs. Okay, so the total divided by the amount. Brilliant. So there's we've got 3 more questions to have a little go at. And the reason I've chose 3 more questions is because these are tricky, okay? And they can be tricky to understand, so I just want to make sure that we are practicing more. So what I'm going to suggest is pause now and have a little go at this one yourself. So pause now and have a little go at that. You might be able to do it. If you can't, I'm going to go through it now anyway. Okay, so let's have a little look at this one together then. So this one here is example 7. Hopefully you've had a little go at it. So example 7. Now these have all come up on past papers. So they have, this is 3 marks. It did come up on a GCSE paper. So it is worth definitely having a go at these. There are 15 children at the party. The mean age of 15 children is 7 years. 9 of the 15 children are boys. The mean age of the boys is 5 years. Work out the mean age of the girls. Okay, so first of all, we want the total of all 15 children, which is going to be the mean of those children, which is 7 years old, times by the amount of children, which is 15. So 7 times by 15, 7 times by 15, which is equal to 105. Brilliant. We also know there are 9 boys, and we know the mean age of the boys. So we want the total for the boys, which is equal to the mean age of the boys, which is 5 years old, times by the amount of boys, which is 9. So 5 times by 9, 5 times by 9, which is equal to 45. Brilliant. So to work out the total age for the girls, we do the total overall, which is 105, subtract the total for the boys, which is equal to 45. So 105 subtract 45, which is equal to 60. So this here is the total age for the girls. So then to work out the mean age of the girls, it's going to be the total mean for the girls is equal to the total age for the girls, which is 60, divided by the amount of girls, which in this case, we don't actually know that, but 15 take away 9, there's 6 girls. So divided by 6, which is equal to 10. 60 divided by 6 is equal to 10. Brilliant. Super. So that was example 7. So I've got a couple more. Again, pause now and have a little go at that yourself. It is slightly different, this one. It is ever so slightly different. So pause now and have a little go at this one. See if you can do it yourself. Okay, let's go through it together then. So the average age of staff in a maths department is 40. So we know that overall the average age is 40. There are 7 members of staff: Jill, Nikki, Wendy, Kathy, Kieran, Alan and Andy. The average age of Jill, Nikki and Wendy is 41. The average age of Andy, Alan and Kathy is 43. How old is Kieran? So this one here is example 8. Okay. So first of all, let's work out the total for the full maths department. So the total of the 7 members, which is equal to the average age, which is 40, times by the amount of people in the maths department, which is 7. So 40 times by 7, which is equal to 280. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to work out the total of Jill, Nikki and Wendy, the total of Andy, Alan and Kathy. Once we know both of those totals, we can subtract it from the total of all of them together, which is 280, to work out what Kieran's age is. So the total for, I'm just going to do J, N and W, is equal to the average age, the mean age of them, which is 41, times by the amount of them, which is 3. There's only 3 people there. So 41 times by 3, which is equal to 123. We can then work out the total for Andy, Alan and Kathy, which is equal to their mean age, which is 43, times by the amount of them, which is 3. Hopefully you should be getting this. Maybe you've already done this. If you have, well done. Brilliant. So we know the total age of Jill, Nikki, Wendy, Alan, Andy and Kathy. So to work out the age of Kieran, we need to take away all of their ages from the total. So it's going to be 280, take away 123, take away 129. Remember, these are the total ages of these 6 people here. So 280 minus 123 minus 129, which is equal to 28, which is Kieran's age. Okay, so Kieran is equal to 28 years old. Brilliant. Super. So let's have a go at one more question, just because these are tricky. So again, I'm going to say pause now and have a little go at this question yourself. So pause now and have a little go at that. Okay, so let's have a little look at it together then. So there are 12 boys and 8 girls in a class. The boys have some coins. The mean number of coins the boys have is 5.5. The girls have a total of 18 coins. Work out the mean number of coins that 20 children have. So again, this is ever so slightly different, but it's working on all of those things that we already know. So the mean number of coins for the boys is 5.5. So let's first remember it's all about the totals. Let's work out the total for the boys. Total for the boys. And that's going to be equal to the mean of the boys. So the mean amount of coins for the boys is 5.5 times by the amount of boys, which is 12. So 5.5 times by 12, which is equal to 66. Okay, brilliant. Now we already know the total for the girls. It's actually told us. So the total for the girls is equal to, they've got 18 coins in total. So if we want to work out the mean number of coins for all 20 children, it's the total amount of coins for all of them divided by the total amount of children. So the total amount of coins is going to be these two added together. So 66 plus 18. 66 plus 18, which is equal to 84, divided by the total amount of children, which is 20. So it's going to be 84 divided by 20. 84 divided by 20, which in this case is equal to 4.2 coins. So this is the mean for the class, which is the total amount of coins divided by the total amount of pupils. Let's just check that answer, 4.2. Brilliant, super. So, there's some questions. Pause now and have a little go at those. I'll make them big for you so you can see them. So pause now and have a little go at those questions. Notice that the majority of these are past paper questions. They do come up quite regularly. Okay, so here's the answers. So mark these in green for me. Mark those in green. Brilliant, so thank you for watching this video on reverse mean. Do make sure you're having a go at these questions, because remember, the only way to learn maths is to do it, and have a lovely day.